Hey Las Vegas, thank you for joining us on Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show where we're talking all things real estate and what's happening out here in our market and in this crazy world that we're in. So today we have some great guests with us. Starting off, we have Michael Vestudo. Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, Michael Vestudo. I'm with Platinum Real Estate Professionals. I've been in the business since 2005. Right before we saw the market adjust, and just going through the crazy world right now and trying to figure it all out.
It is crazy. Pray for your realtors. Yeah. And we have another Mike with us, Mike Cruz. So Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Been in the real estate business since 2004. I'm the broker owner at Reside. We've been open just about a year, so really exciting and things are going great. We just need some more home sellers out there to get homes for our clients.
Yes, that is all of our dreams right now. We need sellers. Michael, you were on the street corner at one point in time with a sign, right?
Yeah,
I remember this. My best friend had shared me the post. I was like, I know that guy. So looking for sellers, right?
Yeah, it was a certain community that I had a client that really wanted a home in that community. And I saw someone else do it from another brokerage out of town. So I decided, hey, let me try it. I went there during, an egress time that was pretty popular around 5 o'clock, and just stood there with the sign to see if anybody would hit me up on it. And didn't get really anybody from the community, but it made it around the world.
It went viral.
Yeah, I just got a lot of calls from brokers and from people in like Minnesota and Canada wanting me to sell their house, and so it was interesting. It was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. That definitely got a laugh from that. And I was wondering if it worked. Maybe we should all try that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to at this point.
Anything now to find sellers. We need inventory. So opening up the show, single family inventory. Every week I've been saying this number and it is dropping substantially every week. As of this morning, we have 1,783 single family homes on the market in Las Vegas. I think that's about a week and a half inventory. It's not enough to keep us going.
No, not at all.
Yes, and price reductions over the last week was 165, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Not much. And the price reductions, just to give everybody out there a little insight, that's not just single family homes. That statistic is across everything. I think it even includes per rump because it shows our whole MLS price reductions on there. So that's not much. Price reductions at 165 is not much. That's just probably minor adjustments. And some of them, let's be honest, some of them are probably just due to low appraisals or the property going back on the market because of a low appraisal, and not really has anything to do with the buyers not wanting to buy a home.
Right.
True.
Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you seeing out there with this shortage? What kind of issues is it causing, and what's going on?
What I've discovered working with buyers, it's such a challenge right now. I was able to get an offer accepted this past week for a client, and what it was is my clients were willing to pay over the appraised value, about $10,000 to $15,000. Well, crunched the numbers on the appraisal and realized we should be within $5,000 or $6,000, so we just completely waived the appraisal completely. And my clients are really well qualified, and they were able to get an appraisal waiver.
Oh,
so we don't have to worry about it at all.
That's good.
So
yeah, that's great.
I think it's a tough decision for a lot of sellers, and it's because of what we as realtors have taught them and what they've heard from a lot of people is to build your real estate portfolio, and that's really the way to retirement and to wealth. And so if anyone purchased a home between 2009 to 2015, their mortgage payment is so low that they can make double by renting the property out. So why would they want to sell it, even if they want to upgrade or move into another home? So that's what I've been hearing a lot from people. And their interest rate is probably at 2.5 or 2 3/4 because they refinanced a few years ago, and now it's going to be a point and a half higher, and the payment just doesn't make sense to them. And they're staying in their home because they can't move up into anything else, and they're going to be homeless.
Right.
So And we haven't seen like new home inventory come on the market. There hasn't been any BLM land auctions, so builders aren't building anything that's affordable. So we're kind of at just lack of inventory altogether, and it's a hard decision for a seller.
Yeah, where do you go? I know I get super excited when someone calls me and they're like, hey, I'm going to live in an RV and sell my home. I'm like, great.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's hard when someone, when someone wants to sell their home and buy another home, it's where's the inventory? Where are we going to find a home? We have to get creative with the lease backs and things
Right.
like that to be able to work it out.
Because of the cost of living going up, we are hearing about the RV stories more and more. Tiny houses. I had 3 different people over the last 2 weeks inquire about tiny houses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And
Yeah.
I've referred them to a company that has the tiny house. Let's go get you a piece of land.
Oh, so this is a thing. I
Yeah.
didn't even know this was a
Yeah.
thing here in Vegas.
Yeah,
There's people that are building tiny houses.
There's a company out in North Las Vegas. I forget their name off the top of my head, but yeah, they're manufacturer of tiny houses.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we're there.
And that gets tough because, is your property on the land? Do you own the land? Do you lease the land? There's not a lot of things that's built in Las Vegas for manufactured homes or the tiny
Well,
home thing.
And to be honest, where I've been directing my clients for the land is really Pahrump.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pahrump is booming.
Yeah.
Pahrump is on fire. Houses in Pahrump are selling in the 400s right now, higher than I've ever seen.
Right.
And even around the winery area, $500,000 and $600,000 houses for Pahrump. That's huge.
Well, and back in the day when we had the inventory issue and the pricing, there were all these outlying communities that people were advertising and would go to. Pahrump, there was Kingman, White Hills before the bridge collapsed that everyone was talking about, Mesquite, and we're not hearing a lot of outside areas because people from California will come here and they're used to driving.
Right.
So they'll drive 45 minutes to an hour if they have to.
It's
Because
not a problem.
Yeah.
But we're just not seeing the development in outlying areas either.
Yeah. Even small towns like Cold Creek. It's like 45 minutes outside of Vegas, that little town with all the wild horses.
Yeah.
A few years ago, houses over there were around 200,000, and I looked the other day, they're 7, 8, some in the millions. That
Right.
city's increased
booming.
substantially. It's booming, and
Yeah.
it's just a small town. So, new home construction. Inventory is drained. A lot of times we'll talk to buyers and they say, well, I don't find anything on the market. This used to be a thing a couple of years ago. You're not finding what you like resell. Let's go find a brand new home, get one built. That's not really a solution anymore to anything.
Yeah.
In new construction, our inventory is drained. They're doing lotteries on most of the new construction homes, and it's lotteries for lots.
Yeah.
The way that works is you reserve a lot. That doesn't really mean you're locking in a price. It just means that lot has your name on it, and
Yeah.
then when that phase gets released, it's whatever price that phase is. So that puts a lot of uncertainty out there for the buyers. And as we were talking earlier, some of the new construction communities are doing bids.
Yeah.
Bids on lots. So what are you guys seeing with new construction? Do you think that they're going to buy some more lots, build some more, solve our inventory problem whatsoever, or are we just we're too far out with that?
I think there's going to be issues for a while, not only because there's not enough land for the builders to buy and build on, but also the issues we're having around the world right now with getting products into the country. Just with everything going on with the truckers in Canada, we're having an issue with getting lumber across, and the cost is going up with lumber. Builders aren't able to get AC units. They're not able to get appliances.
Yes.
So there's a bigger issue than even if the builders released all the lots and wanted to build, they couldn't because they can't get the products in. They can't get enough labor in to build the homes. We would, back in the day, we would see a home, a whole street that would be framed in 24 hours.
Right.
Now you're seeing them take a week to frame one home.
Yeah.
And I think it's just from the lack of labor availability.
Yeah, labor and supplies.
Yeah.
I had a client over the last year, 2021, that the builder was 5 months delayed on their project, and it was because they kept on, their work crews kept on not showing up. They had issues on supplies, getting supplies in time, everything. It was just backed up. There's nothing you could do about it.
I have one currently where we're at 12 months, and we're looking at least at another 4 months probably.
Jeez. Do you remember when, well, of course, I'm sure you do remember the builder contracts, they've always had this, they have up to 2 years to
Right.
finish the project, but you look at the contract and you're like, oh no, that never, you know, that'll never happen.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
happening.
You know, even the sales reps at the builders would say, trust us, we want to just build the house.
Yeah.
And they still do, but they just don't have the supplies available or the labor.
Yeah, it's insane. I seen a meme around social media that said someone posted they were going to sell their home for parts because they're more expensive right now, and
Right.
there is so much truth to that. And new homes were at one point a little more affordable than buying a resale home, and we're not seeing that anymore. There is no more affordability on new homes.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I think part of that really goes back to a shift the builders made probably 3 or 4 years ago when they really got away from entry-level homes and have gone to the little more exclusive luxury style, and it's just driven the price up from there. They're using better quality things inside the homes, which is good, but it's
Yeah.
really driven the price up.
Absolutely.
I feel it's unfortunate because I feel they're taking advantage of the consumer. A lot of times in the contract, it'll state that, you know, they have to pay above appraisal no
Yes.
matter what. And you don't have the appraisal until, you know, 30 days before you're about to close. And then you find out it appraised for $30,000 less than what you agreed to purchase. And as a consumer, you're wondering, why wouldn't it appraise? Like you're the builder. Like
You priced it.
You priced it. This is
Right.
what it should be. And when they say sorry and you have to come out of pocket, and especially if you don't have representation,
Yeah.
you can really find yourself in a situation where you can lose tens of thousands of dollars that you put down for an earnest money.
Absolutely.
And it's very unfortunate. And a lot of times the builders try to squeeze out, you know, realtor representation. They don't want to compensate. Some of them don't even want to work with a realtor.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's really unfortunate. And I remember back in the day that Pulte had Silverstone Ranch, and they raised their prices $100,000 on all their homes overnight.
Jeez.
And then when the market dipped a little, they backed them all down $100,000.
Right.
Well, imagine all those customers that just bought
Yeah.
and closed at $100,000 or higher, and then the builder did that. Now they did a class action lawsuit. I don't know whatever came of that.
But I think that's why we're seeing that same builder now, instead of doing that, they've raised their lot premiums
Yes.
are up to $200,000.
Yeah.
So they can have these exorbitant lot premiums. So if they need to adjust, they can quietly do it without anybody really noticing.
Yeah.
Yep, and I've seen that a lot on the lot premium issue where, you know, of course that helps them with the appraisal.
Yeah.
The lot premium is something that you basically is separate from the appraisal. So instead of raising the actual price of the home, they're raising the price
Right,
of the lot. Whether it's, lot premiums were traditionally supposed to be like if you have a view or you have an
Yeah,
oversized
right.
lot or you have a special lot. Now there's lot premiums
lot
on
premium.
condos,
Everything.
and you don't even own the lot.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
how is there a lot premium? That's insane. But that's what they're doing. The builders are getting creative, of course. And another thing, you know, with new construction, you know, they're, like you said, they're not working with realtors. I've gone into some new construction communities where they say, we won't work with a realtor whatsoever. We'll pay you a referral fee for sending us your client. And
Yeah.
it's part of the reason why clients want realtors is because they want us to be able to explain to them what is in these contracts.
Yeah.
So it's craziness out there. It's almost like the Wild West.
Well, even the tax situation. A lot of consumers aren't aware of the property taxes, and when you purchase a new home, how your taxes can be 3 times higher
Yes.
than on a resale home. They don't grasp, and they're not explained that. They're not explained how the builder makes you pay all their closing costs and the transfer tax, and how you're paying tens of thousands of dollars more
Yeah.
than you normally would.
Yeah,
Right.
your closing costs are a lot higher, and the days where the builders are paying your closing costs have gone away.
Yeah.
No one's paying your closing costs anymore.
And if they are,
Right.
it's not free. They tuck it into the rate somewhere.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So January, MLS statistics showed every month we have a a release from our LVR, the Realtor Association, of sales from the previous month. So January sales dropped. If you look at our little chart that they show us on our dashboard on MLS, that chart's way down. Sales dropped by about 1,000 units. December 2021. They were, our closed units were 4,284. January, 3,458.
I think for anybody just looking at those numbers, it's like, oh my gosh, the market's crashing.
Yeah, right.
But it's quite the opposite.
Absolutely.
Those numbers strictly relate to the inventory.
Yes.
Back in October and early November, we had inventory close to 4,000 homes.
Yeah.
And now we're less than half that.
Yeah.
And those numbers of closed sales are just a relation to that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I had a buyer contact me, seen on the news that sales dropped substantially because, of course, the news likes to report
Right.
what they don't know about. So, our sales dropped, by 1,000 units, and whatever percentage, it's huge. It's a big deal.
Sure.
Buyer calls me and says the news said the market's crashing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, quite the opposite. We don't have homes to sell.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we don't have homes to sell, our sales numbers cannot be high. Do you agree with that?
I agree. If we had 4,000 homes that hit the market tomorrow that were under 300,000, they'd all be gone.
I agree. I agree.
The demand's there.
Yeah.
It's just we don't have the inventory. And there's buyer fatigue as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to tell your clients, oh, we got another one rejected. We got another one rejected. It's kind of like dating.
Yeah.
You constantly get rejected. You're like, okay, I'm going to take a break here.
Yeah.
Trish mentioned a meme. I saw one the other day. It said, if you and your spouse can't decide on a home, it's easier to find a new spouse than a new home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, this is true. And it is. It's one of the things I'm telling buyers before we even go shopping is you expect to write 13 offers. Expect to get rejected. And, on top of that, expect to pay above appraisal. Expect to offer above list price because I hate to tell you to do this, but if you're not doing it, someone else is.
Right.
You're not going to get the house.
Yeah.
And it's before, someone would call you, they're pre-approved, they're ready to go. We're all excited. Let's start shopping. And now it's like, okay, now let me burst your bubble and tell you what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's rough out there for all of us. It seemed like a huge gap. However, when you look at January, just going back a year before, January 2021 sales were 3,424, and December 2020 were 3,469. They didn't have a big difference. So we have had a substantial change this last year or
Right.
this last couple months than we did the year before.
Yeah.
And I was speaking with somebody just yesterday about, they were saying, should I wait to buy? They called me with a pre-approval, and we looked, and for what they wanted, there were 5 houses on the market.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot to choose from, and of those, who knows what's going on with those 5. But they were saying, should I wait? Should I wait to buy? And really, the thing is, the rates are going to go higher. I spoke with so many people in 2020 that said, should I wait? The market's probably going to crash with all this stuff going on. And at that time, I think I was, I almost believed that was going to happen. I think a lot of people
Right.
did. And it was a mistake. Unfortunately, like I say, we don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
But I almost believed. I said, let's see what happens over the next couple months. And nothing happened. Nothing went backwards. Everything went up from
Right.
there. So when people are asking me that today, that's what I have to tell them, is that, if you want to wait, it may work out, but things could only go up
No,
from
it's
here. And
Definitely taking a chance to wait.
yeah, definitely taking a risk.
I think it's all about promoting home ownership. We've over the last 20 years, everyone that buys a house wants to know, what's my house going to be worth 6 months, a year from now. We've kind of gotten away from this long-term investment when buying a home.
Right.
And it's about affordability. Is your payment what you can afford? And, you will make money on your home long term.
Of course.
And everyone wants to kind of shortcut that. And the only reason that we had an issue back in the day was because nobody was paying principal on their home. They were in these terrible loan programs.
Yes.
Right.
And why would you keep that home? It made no sense. It was negative for you.
Right.
Where now, even if the market dipped, if your payment is affordable, it's better than throwing $30,000 to $40,000 a year away towards rent than it would be to apply that towards your mortgage, because you're going to make that up
Yes.
in tax deductions, et
Right.
cetera, with being a homeowner.
I'm working with a buyer right now, and his big thing is he's always rented. He goes, I want rent control. My rent's gone up so much over the last couple of years, I can't afford it to keep going up. At least if I buy something, I'll be locked in that price.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And as someone, I had a home. I've said this many times on the show. I had a home that we had it throughout the crash, and we were in negative equity. Everything was upside down. But we looked at it from the side of, we could still afford our payment. Why would we leave this house?
Yeah,
right.
We wrote it out. We ended up making a good amount of money when we sold it. So, it's long term. Markets will change. It's just like the stock market. Do you sell when it's at the bottom, or do you just hold on and wait till it adjusts? Things will adjust over time.
Right.
And cost of living always goes up. If you look at what our parents or grandparents bought homes for in the 50s, you could
Right.
never get a house these
Yeah.
days at that price. It will always work itself out.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, home ownership, it offers you security.
I mean, we're $100,000 over what the last cap was for the median. It was $335 back in 2006.
Yes.
And we're $435 now. So
It's insane.
even if we dipped, it's going to come back again long term.
Yeah, and if people, there's people, obviously, huge buyer concern is, are they buying at the top of the market? Are they going to be upside down in equity? And that goes back to, again, can you afford your payment? And we don't know if it's the top, it could be the bottom.
Yeah.
We don't know where we're at. No one, if anybody's telling you they can predict that, it's a lie. No one knows the future. So can you afford your payment? If you can afford your payment, it makes sense.
I think the only thing we know for sure right now is that interest rates are
Yeah.
going to go up.
Yes, we do know that.
And so your payment is going to go up. Even if it goes up 1 point, you're looking at $200 to $300 more a month on your mortgage payment, and that's if you're buying under $400,000.
Right.
Right?
So I think if you're looking for a payment that's lower than what you're renting for, now is a great time to purchase because of the interest rates.
Absolutely. So we got paired up with San Francisco.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we are, well, here's one of the things about San Francisco. And I have compared it to us a few times in the past, just in an analogy, is that if you don't, statistically, if you don't own a home already in San Francisco and you're not in a very high income bracket, you'll probably never be able to own a home in San Francisco. Their prices have gone so high that there is no real entry level homes in the area.
Yeah.
So your people are buying homes with the equity from the current homes that they own, but people that are not high net worth are not becoming first time home buyers there.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
not an option. That's always been an option here. But I think that we may be getting to a point where that's not an option. Maybe Las Vegas is becoming as great and popular as San Francisco. I don't know. There's debate there, but it could happen. Anyways, we got paired up with them from investors. There's investors building some affordable housing. They've targeted 2 areas, and that is Las Vegas and San Francisco as a need for affordable housing that they're planning a project to build here. Globestreet.com is the company, I believe. So I don't know what they mean by affordable housing. Is that going to be 400,000? What are we talking about affordable housing? I don't know all the details. But as far as the details is they're planning projects here in Las Vegas and San Francisco to be able to allow options for people to buy in their first homes.
Okay.
Well, they have that, I don't know what community it is, but it's in the southwest off of Cactus, behind Mountain's Edge, where they're newer homes that are being built that are, I don't want to call low income, but they're entry level.
They've been deemed
You have to
affordable
qualify.
housing.
Is that what they
Yeah.
are? So,
But
But
I don't
nobody
think
knows.
there's income qualifications, though.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know the protocol of it, but the city has also talked about building out by state line.
Yes.
That
Right.
30,000 homes or whatever the case may be, and who knows if that's going to come to fruition. But I think it's needed.
It is needed, but what I see every time when there is anything that is somewhat affordable, there's wait list. Everybody
Right.
wants. I mean, there's so much demand for something affordable, entry level. Once that's, I mean, it's everyone's jumping on it. There's usually a wait list even to get it, or they're sold out before you can even touch it.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't know if it's quite a solution.
It'll help. Every house they can build is a help. But it
Yes.
all goes back to the new construction thing again. How long is it going to take these homes to get online?
Of course. Just because there's some investor wanting to build affordable housing, did they get some special price on lumber? I don't understand how it's going to work out or be possible.
Well, I heard that's why a lot of apartment complexes that are new, that are built out, that they do income based at first because they get some type of tax break
Yeah.
for the first 2 years.
Right.
And that's why they do it, and then they open up afterwards. So, does it work out
Yeah.
long term for entry level buyers, or just,
Yeah.
for help the builder?
Right. And I know about 4 years ago, I had gone to a realtor thing out in North Las Vegas, and the
I was
mayor,
there.
John Lee, spoke.
Yeah.
And they had a huge redevelopment area, and it was, at the time, it was specifically KB Homes was going to build, I want to say it was close to 1,000 homes. I know it never happened, KB pulled out, but it would still be something great if somebody else came in and did something like
of the
that.
sort. Yeah. And that is, and of course, locations. I know that there's, I believe it's Touchstone. Oh, I don't know now. My memory's not working right. One of the builders is, over in East Las Vegas, off of Vegas Valley.
They bought the old Royal Links golf course.
The golf course,
That's
yes,
Touchstone.
and the golf course is right next door
Yeah.
to a waste plant.
Right.
So that golf course they're going to be building, and they're stating that it's going to be
1,600
affordable
homes.
housing
Yeah.
and a lot of homes. But again, it is, everyone has their preference. The area does have a smell.
Yeah.
It does, and they're saying that they're working on getting that resolved. There's some kind of company going in to try to resolve the odor issue. So we'll see how that plays out. But then when they talk affordable housing, where is it going to be? I think that one thing we're seeing too in Vegas, huge, is all of the areas are turning around. Happens in all big cities. It just never really happened here. Vegas has always been the most popular areas or the outskirts of the city, whatever those happen to be. We're starting to see a shift in that. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's definitely a little bit of a regentrification going on downtown.
Huge, yeah. So I'm just wondering if the most desirable and popular areas are
Won't
going to be
always
other
be.
parts of Vegas that we weren't looking at before.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So
possible.
it is possible, and it has happened in other big cities, and Vegas is becoming a big city. We're no longer a small
No.
little guys.
Yeah, and it really, what do they consider affordable housing?
Right.
Right.
What price point are they looking at? Because even those ones that are out by Cactus, I heard are in the low 400s.
Right.
Well, that's
That's
not
not-
affordable.
Right.
When
Yeah.
your median income here is 55 to 60,000 for
Yeah.
a family.
Yeah. It's
it
not.
doesn't-
It's not. Absolutely, and that's why I see her. Yeah, what are they considering affordable housing? I don't think that we'll see $200,000 houses again for
No.
probably ever. I don't. I just think that ship sailed. So crypto. Crypto is a thing, and we have Kiss from the band Kiss,
Gene Simmons.
Gene
Yeah.
Simmons. He has a mansion here in Henderson that he is selling for crypto. Are we going to start seeing this, or do we send crypto as proof of funds? How are we doing this? How is this working? This is so Greek to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot about it,
Yeah.
but you're hearing a lot of people that will accept Bitcoin. I don't even know of title companies and lenders that know how to even make it work.
Right. I don't know
I-
how to make it work.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would even navigate through that.
I've played with it a little bit and
Okay.
strictly played with it a little bit. Truthfully, I think it's too volatile to even transfer. To me, it's basically like a stock
Yeah.
at this point. You can't just, somebody accepting proof of funds isn't going to accept a stock market account
Yeah.
as proof of funds, because what's there today might not be there tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
True. I think it's just a way to, it's a marketing ploy for them.
Well,
Yeah.
here we are talking about
Yeah.
it.
Well, yeah, we're talking about it made a news headline, so
Yeah.
obviously it worked.
It's kind of like how, I think it was last year, they tried doing that auction on one of the luxury homes, and they were selling tickets for $100, and it was just a way to get publicity
Yeah.
out there
Yeah.
for it. And I think it's the same thing with, Gene Simmons is a great marketer.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, he could probably outmarket every one of us as far as getting his home sold.
Yeah.
So
It's probably,
just
yeah.
another-
That's what I'm seeing. I mean, my experience with crypto is very minimal. I bought Dogecoin when it had all the buzz and then lost, like it went down 50%, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with that. So I don't know.
it's kind of like
It's going back up though.
Is it?
It is.
It's
I
kind
didn't
of like
look at it.
NFTs and the whole blockchain, and they're talking about that real estate is eventually going to be that
Metaverse.
way as far as title. That title is going to be part of the blockchain to where it can transfer ownership, and it'll have a clear chain of title, and it's going to change the industry. It just seems so foreign because we don't understand it. It's kind of like when the internet first came out.
Right.
Like a lot of people
Yeah.
were like, oh, how does it travel from here to there? Like,
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be an education process. Who knows where it'll go, but
Yeah, it could work. I mean, I've heard people are actually purchasing virtual homes in the metaverse or whatever
Right.
that is these days. So
Decentraland or whatever they call it.
yeah, so I mean that's insane to me. But do they need a realtor? Maybe I should learn about it.
I just saw that Michelle Sullivan just advertised that she's the first broker that's part of the metaverse or something
Oh my goodness.
from Vegas. So.
Okay, we're here. We are there. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so our final topic that I want to discuss is for us, good news or bad news for realtors is our buyers, agents, commissions are dropping. In the real estate industry, we all know listings is the way to go, especially in this market. Most realtors that have been in the business for a while will focus their business on listings because you can control your income and what's going on. Definitely. But that doesn't mean I work a referral business. I work buyers. If someone needs to help buy a home, I work with buyers, and many of us do. However, we're getting paid a lot less. And the statistics, Inman has even reported, the statistics have shown that buyers agents have dropped to an average 2.63%. Sometimes it's lower. We were talking about 1% commissions. There's companies, builders that will pay us 0. So where is that going? Obviously, we can't work for free. Though, some of us love our clients and would try to do anything to help them. We can't work for free.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. Nobody would go in anywhere and ask someone to work for free. So what can we do and what's going to happen? I feel like it's turning to a point where buyers are going to have to start paying realtors if we stay in this type of market.
Right, most definitely. And I think there will be a little bit of a shift as the market shifts back a little more towards the buyers, but I think we got a ways to go before then. But ultimately, and I'm going to give you the broker answer here,
Sure.
is we have to have that buyer brokerage agreement.
Right.
And maybe it doesn't have to be a percentage though, but maybe at least a flat amount. So at least we know we're not working for free.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always had, like, in my buyer's brokerage agreement that we'll accept the seller's compensation, even if it's 2.5 or whatever, we'll take that, with the exclusive agreement. But these days, yeah, I've seen 0% on MLSs.
Right.
And I can't, ethically, we cannot just tell a buyer not to buy that home because of that, but we have to have a solution. But again, we can't work for free. So what are we going to do?
Well, I have many thoughts on it. I think NAR, the National Association of Realtors, has been slow with reacting. And, we have lawsuit after lawsuit. The Department of Justice is coming down hard on NAR and all of us as an industry. And because it hasn't made sense of why a seller should compensate both brokers. And
Right.
that's been the
Right.
biggest debate. And I think one way to get around that is to abolish dual agency altogether.
Absolutely.
So then you will have where you have to have a representation on each side.
And it's fair. I hate dual
No,
agents.
Yeah,
I
there's no
completely
way in
agree.
this market you should be able to double end any property without there being something shady going on. Because we know we put a house on the market, it could have 50 offers
Right.
in 2 weeks. So you're telling me yours ended up on top, your buyer, it just...
Yeah, and you didn't tell them what they needed to do,
Yeah.
and you acted fairly to all. Yeah,
And there's a lot of
exactly.
lawsuits going on over that lately. And so I think one way to protect our industry as realtors is we need to get rid of dual agency. Then you won't have this issue of the listing agent double ending or the buyer going directly to work with the listing broker, because that listing broker can tell them, hey, I can't represent you. You have to go find your own representation. And then that'll protect having to have a dual agency. As far as the compensation, that's going to have to, come between the parties. Everyone's cost of doing business is different.
Yeah.
And I think as an industry, we've been stuck with a percentage in our head. And that same percentage has been in our heads when the market median price was $112,000 and when it's $435,000. And there has to be some adjustment. Sometimes working a condo that's $150,000 can be a lot more work than $1 million property.
Absolutely.
Right.
And, there has to be some fluctuation.
Right. Now, everybody's screaming right now. The consumers think, oh my gosh, the real estate market's amazing. Go back to 2010 when it was just total opposite of where we are today. A lot of agents, they would have a buyer brokerage agreement because home prices crashed and they were worth nothing.
Yeah.
And the agents couldn't afford to work for what the commission was.
Yeah.
And there would be a minimum amount, so the buyer would pay the difference.
Okay.
And I think that we're going to go back to the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, and let's be honest, working with a buyer looking for a $350,000 entry level house these days, you're putting in way more hours,
Right.
way more time, way more paperwork, and with those, because the sellers know that they control that market. We are seeing very low commissions offered on that, so it's like double, triple, quadruple the work. A portion of the compensation.
Yeah, and I mentioned that earlier. A big part of our fiduciary responsibility as a realtor is disclosure. And when we take a listing, it used to be where we had to disclose the full amount we're being compensated and how much we're offering to the other broker.
We still have to disclose that in our listing agreement.
Not in the listing
Not
agreement
the newest
anymore.
one.
Really?
Yep, the
Oh,
listing
I need to
agreement
revise mine.
the listing agreement has changed now to where it only shows the total compensation.
Oh.
Then it's broker to broker on what we're going to offer. Now, as the consumer, if I agreed to pay, let's say 5%, and I saw that the listing is being offered at 0% and my agent's keeping 5%,
Jesus. Yeah.
your customer would have something to
There's-
say about
right.
that.
That's not a fair, I'm
Well-
sorry, that's not a fair representation.
and
How are
I'll
you fairly
tell
marketing
you
that
also,
property?
the
Yeah.
advice I've given my agents that work in my brokerage is they absolutely need to keep a copy of that MLS from the day they show that house.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
to
them
make
change.
sure that
That's
doesn't get changed.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible to think that people are so unethical
Right,
out there.
because
but it's
there's
true.
no trail now to go back to.
Yeah.
Well, the unfortunate part is when the market gets tough and as tight as it is right now with 20,000 agents in town, they do some shady stuff and they're not looking out for the client's best interests and they're looking out for theirs, unfortunately. And the only way to stop that is to put some things in place to where it protects the consumer.
Yeah.
We all know that it's hard to find out if your offer was actually presented.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And
Especially when the agents
we can't
never
get a response.
never
Yeah,
respond
you don't
at
even
all.
get a signed rejection back
Nothing.
anymore. And where's the proof that you can provide to your client as the buyer that their offer was actually presented and rejected by the seller? There's nothing. But
Yeah.
with technology, we can make that possible. We can submit our offer to a portal that then would notify both the seller confidentially and the listing broker that an offer has arrived.
Right.
It doesn't say from who, or it doesn't just,
Yeah.
give some of that personal information out, but
yeah.
at least they know. Because if a seller received an email or a text, they have an offer resigned, they're going to contact their agent right away.
Correct.
And we know in this industry that a lot of agents don't work on weekends. They don't answer their phone. They
Right.
don't check their email. So, and if offer comes in Friday, they're not even going to look at it until Monday.
Right.
And that's not working for your client's best interest.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like we have to take a day off, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, but if an offer comes in, over the weekend, yes, I always forward offers to the clients immediately upon receipt. However, we might not sit down and review over net sheets and go over all the cost until, on a weekday.
Yeah. Right.
And that's fine.
And we have things in place with showing time where
Yes.
the seller is notified when somebody has entered their home. Just like we're notified instantly, they're notified instantly.
Yeah.
And I think we can have the same thing in place with
offers. Yeah. No, and they should be, because yes, I feel like, and I've said this before on the show, some agents in this market, because it's so chaotic, even for the listing agents, receive so many offers, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they just bury their head in the sand and just stop responding, and then they're looking at 30 offers, they don't know which one to choose, they pick the highest price. Probably not the best offer. Sometimes the offer is chosen and you look at what they actually closed and sold and what happened once everything is settled. They didn't choose the best offer.
Yeah.
And it's just a...
But we've all had situations where we have a seller who wants their home to go to a family. They want it to
Correct.
go to a veteran. They want it to go to whomever.
Yeah.
And as a broker, it's ultimately up to the client. It's not up to decide, hey, this offer's $10,000 higher, you should take it.
Yeah.
It's up to them what
Right.
they want to take. And
Right.
we need to step aside and let them decide.
Yeah. And that's it. I always reiterate to my clients that the highest offer is not always the best.
Right.
Depends on the terms. The terms are extremely important. And yeah, it's, when going over it, and if it takes me, there's times that I've had to tell my sellers where they're like, hey, let's go over offers right now, but I just received them all today. And I tell them, no, we have to wait, because we can put the property on temporary withdrawal if we have to stop showings or halt showings, do whatever we need to be able to go through these, but I need time to go through these, and I can't do it in seconds.
Right.
I want to make sure I'm doing what's right.
Yeah.
So it's just one of the issues we have to deal with in this market.
Yeah. I think we need to do a better job of being professionals.
Yes.
We promote a lot about being professionals, and we're like attorneys and et cetera, but you never see attorneys when they win a case show a stack of money on a table
Right.
of what they just
You're right.
Or you don't see a doctor that just performed heart surgery
Yeah.
show their check
Just-
of what they got paid.
Yes, I
And
know.
too many people in our business do that.
Yeah.
And I think it really looks bad to the consumer, because then they see, well, they're all overpaid.
Right.
And
90% of the realtors out there, though, that brag about like the money, the income, that you'll see them with all the cash in their hand or whatever.
Yeah.
It's when you look at like actual units and GCI and whatever, and you're like, huh.
yeah.
It's almost false, but they think that makes them look like a better realtor.
Right.
And
It makes them look successful.
It makes
that
them look successful.
False perception. That,
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know if it's the MTV Cribs or
Yeah.
what it was that got everyone to kind of want to be these luxury, over-the-top brokers that are making millions of dollars, but that's not reality. It's,
reality. I mean, we work hard for what we do, and
Absolutely.
and it is not every real estate agent is making a lot of money out there. There's a lot of agents making under 30,000.
Right.
And I think the statistics are showing the majority of the agents are making under 30,000. But yeah, in everybody's mind, all of these realtors are just walking around with hands full of cash. So
Yeah, when you're paying $4 a gallon for gas, and putting 10,000 miles a month on your vehicle, I mean, that adds up.
Yes, it does.
There's a lot of expenses.
For sure. And real estate is one of those industries where we pay to play. It costs us a lot of money every time we take a listing, every time we do anything. It costs us a lot of out-of-pocket expense before we ever get paid.
Right.
Before we
Just-
ever make a check, or
just
even
our
with a
MLS
guarantee.
access.
Yes, even with the guarantee of a check. We dish out a lot of money
Yeah.
before we know we're going to get paid. It's a pay-to-play industry. It is there's a lot of risk we take financially on everything. I know I've taken huge hits on things that, and spend thousands of dollars on marketing, and then, the seller withdraws the listing for some crazy reason that you didn't expect. It happens.
It'd be interesting in our industry how the consumer would react if there was an upfront fee that they had to pay.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
they would be more selective. They would do a little bit more investigating. Like imagine if they had to pay you a retainer, like they
Right.
do with attorneys.
With
Right.
attorneys, yeah.
Imagine if they had to pay a $5,000 retainer,
Yeah,
and it would be applied towards. I
Towards
think
it.
they'd be a little bit more
yeah.
careful about when they work with you. I mean, they wouldn't just hang up on you and go call another realtor.
Right.
They wouldn't. I mean, the buyer brokerage agreement is good, but it's a
But
piece
it
of
doesn't,
paper.
right, it doesn't really
Yeah.
lock them in.
And it's unfortunate because I've always said it's like getting a marriage certificate on your first date. Like
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
even know how the whole process is going to go with that person.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I've never heard of anybody suing.
No.
you know, for
No,
the buyer
because
brokerage.
most of the time it's not worth the time and effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you going to pay attorney fees for,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it.
I always do the handshake thing with people. Hey, I'm loyal to you. I'm just looking for
That's
your
it.
loyalty back. You know, I'm going to work hard for you. I'm always going to be there for you.
Yeah.
And I'm asking for the same in return. And, you know, some people are good and some people
Right.
Yeah.
Not.
will shaft you, but it happens in everything.
I tell people that too. I'm like, I do the buyer's brokerage agreement. I expect you to work exclusively with me and not work with anybody else. But if you don't like me, you don't want to work with me, you tell me and we're done. Like,
Yeah,
that's okay. I'm
right.
not burning signs in your yard. I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to work with anybody that doesn't want to work with me. Who would want to do that? But anyways, guys, it's been a great show. We've been talking a lot. If you are watching the show, please like, comment, share, tell your friends about us. We're here every week. Just a quick promo. I want to let everybody out there know I am going to be hosting in our Green Valley location, 2230 Corporate Circle, February 24th at 6 p.m., an investment seminar. It's a seminar where we talk about purchasing, owning, and holding rental income-bearing properties. It's free to everyone. Invite your friends. We have a link out there on Eventbrite. You can contact me directly for details. Hope to see you guys there. Tell your friends. Agents, real estate agents are invited to come. It's going to have, I'm going to be speaking a little bit about some real life scenarios, and there's going to be a lender there talking about where to get the funds from, and we're going to have a property manager talking about all the criteria that you should look for. So it's going to be a great seminar, about an hour and a half long, free, February 24th at 6 p.m. Now, Michael, how do people contact you?
You can reach me at 702-450-SAVE or 232-7729, whichever one.
Okay, great. And Mike Cruz, how do people contact you?
Give me a call at 702-286-3434.
All right. Thank you guys for being on the show. I
Thank
hope
you.
both of you return. Mike, you've been here a few times, so
Yes.
thank you for coming back. I always appreciate your input. And thanks, guys. Have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful week.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.